Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca, and I will be talking about Refugee Blues by W.H. Auden. Coming to the author, the poet, he was born in York, England in 1907. He was a prominent figure in the modernist poetry movement and known for his social and political commentary. And he lived through World War II, which influenced his works, most of his works. And then on to the poem. Here we have the first and second stanza. Say the city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there's no place for us, my dear, yet there's no place for us. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you'll find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear, we cannot go there now. So, in the opening stanza of the poem, the speaker depicts a metropolis. This location, located in Germany, is huge. It's packed with people, some of whom live in mansions and others in holes. This image conveys to the reader the tremendous financial discrepancy that existed in his household. Despite the variety of housing options, he claims that there is no place for us. The speaker and his family are German Jews who are looking for a safe haven as Nazism and anti Semitism expand throughout Europe. We should also notice the highly powerful phrase, there's no place for us. It takes on a sorrowful tone as the speaker reveals his tiredness and despair in just one sentence. In the second verse of Refugee Blues, the speaker adds that once he and his family, as well as his people, had a home, it was a space they could call their own. One might look it in an atlas and discover it. It was a literal site, not a figurative one. However, as um, as previously been established, they cannot return there. The phrase "we cannot go there now" is repeated in the final line of this poem, and the next stanza also adopt the same strategy to the poem's already melodic beauty. So to onto the next stanza, 3 and 4. In the village churchyard there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. The consul banged the table and said, if you got no passport, you're officially dead. But we are still alive, my dear, but we are still alive. So here the speaker had a memory of seeing a yew tree in a graveyard, and it's something he's quite familiar with, but he's now completely detached from. Every year, it blossoms anew. However, he says, old passports do not have the same ability. This relates to their inability to return home and the fact that they have been essentially banished from their own lives. Everything they thought belonged to them, even their citizenship, is gone. So the next stanza revisits the subjects of the passport because the speaker has lost the privilege to reside in his own house. The consul tells him directly that he is officially dead. This is a stunning and unsettling talk, one that relays the true difficulty of the situation that the speaker and his families are in. On to stanza number 5 and 6. Went to a committee. They offered me a chair, asked me politely to return next year. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go today? Came to a public meeting, the speaker got up and said, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. So these stanzas focus on the bureaucratic challenges of deciding where to go and how to live. The speaker explains his attempt to contact with someone, determine what to do, or gather information that might take him to a new place. Everywhere he goes and everyone he speaks with frustrates him. The mysterious committee tells him to return next year. This condition prompts him to repeat the statement, where shall we go today? By repeating this important and difficult statement, the speaker shows his dissatisfaction and fear. He has no concept how to take care of the people he loves. The following stanza expresses precisely what other countries dread, at least in part when it comes to admitting Muslim migrants, some attending the meetings and all that. So stanza 7 and 8. Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying they must die. Oh, we were in his mind, my dear, oh, we were in his mind. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Saw a door opened and a cat let in. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. So um, it is not until the stanza 7 and 8 that it becomes evident that this individual is a German Jew escaping Hitler. Hitler's voice and the proclamation that they must die are compared to thunder rumbling in the sky. This metaphor depicts how strong the guy was and how his decrees had godlike authority at that time. His reach extended throughout the speaker's globe. Other people have a home, protection, and a roof over their heads, but German Jews do not. This label prevents the speaker and his family from entering other nations, and anti-Semitism is not limited to Germany. So on to the next stanza. Went down the harbor and stood upon the quay. Saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. They had no politicians and sang at their ease. They weren't the human race, my dear, they weren't the human race. So the next two stanza describe the speaker's perception of global freedom. Various creatures, including fish and birds, have the ability to live their lives however they see appropriate. However, they are not German Jews. They are not the human race and are not subject to its rule, whether reasonable or unjust. And on to the last stanza. Went down the harbor and stood upon the quay, saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. They had no politicians and sang at their ease. They weren't the human race, my dear, they weren't the human race. And then 13 and 14. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows, and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear, not one of them was ours. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro, looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me. So the 11th verse relates a dream that the speaker had. He died in a building with thousands of floors, doorways, and residencies. Not one of them was ours, he claimed. This structure symbolizes the family's solitary lifestyle and their sense of exile from the human race. The final verse concludes with a disturbing vision of troops following the family over a great plain in the falling snow. The plain is most likely a symbol for all countries. So, as we analyze the poem, we can see that this poem delves into the dislocation and mystery of refugee, a subject that grew increasingly pertinent in the turbulent decades of the 20th century. It creates a striking image of the world that provides no sanctuary for individuals who have lost their homes and nations. The poem eloquently conveys the solitude and sadness many migrants feel. The poem's language is basic and straightforward, but it carries a strong message. And Refugee Blues is a striking reminder of the human cost of war and persecution, as well as a call to action for those with the ability to help people in need. Coming to its historical context, it was written in 1939 during the early years of World War II. So it reflects the widespread displacement and suffering caused by the war, connects to the broader theme of exile and alienation. So imagine a world where people are forced to leave their homes and seek refuge in foreign lands. That's the reality depicted in this poem. It's a story of loss, despair, and search for belonging. The poet uses vivid imagery and powerful languages to convey the emotions of the refugees. It's a reminder of the human cost of war and the challenges faced by those who are displaced. And we have the themes displacement and despair, exclusion and rejection, and the search for belonging. So, as we've said, like just imagine you are forced to leave your home and everything you know. That's the reality faced by the refugees in this poem. They're not just physically displaced, they're also emotionally and spiritually lost. The poem shows a picture of a world that offers no refuge. They're constantly rejected and excluded wherever they go. It's like they're ghosts hunting the earth but unable to find a place to belong. So, despite all this, they continue to search for a sense of belonging. They long for a place where they can feel at home and safe. And it is a heartbreaking reminder of the human need for connection and community. And coming to poetic device, we have repetition and refrain, imagery, symbolism. So the repeated lines, I have no home, no country, no people, emphasizes the refugee senses of alienation and lost. So this repetition creates a haunting and despairing atmosphere. It emphasizes the refugee's sense of alienation and loss. And the image of seas of pity is a powerful metaphor for the overwhelming sadness and hopelessness that the refugees feel. Symbolism as the sea. The sea can be seen as a symbol of both hope and despair. So it represents the vastness and mystery of the world, as well as the dangers and uncertainties that the refugees face. These poetic techniques work together to create a powerful and moving poem that captures the human cost of war and displacement. So, coming to the conclusion, the poem remains a powerful and relevant work of literature. Even today, its message continues to resonate with audiences around the world. And if we ask why is that? Well, the poem explores themes of exile, loss, and despair. These themes are universal and timeless. They're not just about the experiences of refugees during World War II, they're about the human condition. And from the poem itself, we can see that Austen's masterful use of poetic techniques enhances the poem's impact. And that is all I can say for today. Thank you.